Hello YouTube, it's Afro coming back at you once again, and today we're going to talk about the Hamar tribe, which is a tribe once again inhabiting the country of modern-day Ethiopia. Now, if you guys noticed, I've been talking a lot about the Afro-Asiatic peoples just because I find it interesting in general how there's a lot of cultural continuity, not just in the world with certain cultures, but in general in Africa, how a lot of groups far from each other do share some similarities, um, which is just a cultural continuity, which I always liked. But I also was fascinated by the cultural continuity of the Nile Valley, which is the reason why I'm going over a lot of the Afro-Asiatic groups. Um, However, don't worry, I did talk about the Ashanti people, and I will go back to West Africa, South Africa as well, and I will talk about those groups more also. And I'll definitely be going back to West Africa in my next video. But we're just gonna explore a little bit more with the Afro-Asiatic groups of people. And my opinion, I could be wrong, or you can give me your opinion and tell me what you think. But it's starting to seem like um, a lot of the Afro-Asiatic groups of people, the Afro-Asiatic language speaking groups of people, had a lot of connection to do with, I would say, a lot of historical events, as well as I would say things that have to do with religion in general. Not saying that I specifically align with any religion, and that's the reason why I was always focused on around that area, and also because in general, like I did my knowledge, I did focus on a lot of West Africa, but for you guys, I definitely will start focusing a lot on other parts of Africa too. I just wanted to like get a lot of my intrigue and interest in for the Afro-Asiatic groups just out there real fast. However, we'll definitely be talking about other parts of Africa too. But diving more deeper into the Hamar tribe of Ethiopia, they are actually an nomadic community, and essentially, Omo, like the area in which they inhabit, Omo Valley, is in essentially essentially in the south of Ethiopia, southwest Ethiopia. That's where majority of the nomadic peoples are, and they inhabit the territory east of the Omo River and have villages in Termi and Temeka. The 2000 national census actually reported that around, let's say, 46,000 to 532 people in this ethnic group, essentially of whom actually were 957 were urban inhabitants. They are known for their practices of body adornment and wearing multitudes of color beads. And I want to like really talk about like the color beads a lot and these different adornments, because this is why I keep saying like the true inheritors of Egypt would be the descendants of the Nile Valley people who are like inhabiting Ethiopia and some inhabiting like Sudan as well, because if you look at a lot of their armaments and like their colorful beads and things of that nature, it's very akin to what the Egyptians wore. You see like a lot of the people in Africa like kept a lot of the cultures from the Nile Valley, and it's like you're starting to see who are the original indigenous inhabitants of Egypt. So that's why I wanted to put emphasis on that, the beads part. But in general, women often wore these on their necks, and they often like polished their iron jewelry a lot. The men actually have a reputation for being a little bit less adoring as husbands, and the woman often submits to the ritual flogging proudly and love to show their deep scars that are regarded as proof of devotion to their husbands. Okay, so that's uh that's uh that's a very interesting part of their culture. Okay, yeah. Now, obviously, like nowadays, like in our society, we wouldn't accept that, and in some people's society, not my opinion, but obviously like some people would see that as kind of like a little demeaning. But you have to put everything in this cultural context. People essentially grew up around the world differently and evolved differently in their cultures and social statuses to everyone. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just trying to like help people understand like people's culture. But to move on, oftentimes families will pool their livestock and labor to herd their cattle together in the dry seasons, and whole families go to live in grazing camps with their herds where they survive on milk, blood from cattle. And just as for other tribes in the valley, cattle and goats are the heart of the Hammer life. So having cattle and herding, you'll see that like in East Africa or in other parts of Africa too, like cattle like was like essentially like your wealth. You know, it's very important. Okay, and essentially it's only with cattle and goats to pay as a bride for wealth, for example, that a man can marry. A lot of their culture has now become well known to the outside world actually too. And essentially men and boys usually sleep on cots in the center of the camp near the cattle, and camels are used for riding and as a pack animal. Most Hamar plant fields of sorghum at the beginning of the rainy season before leaving on their annual nomadic journey. Some households also plant sesame and beans, and because the crops are usually left unattainted, the yields are low. Okay, so few households grow enough grain to last through the year. So this is a yeah some pretty rough lifestyle. But the thing is, because the men tend to be older, their wives they often die first. So lots of the Hamar households are headed by women who have survived their husbands. And a widow also has power over her husband's younger brothers if their parents are already dead. Brothers and sisters are important to each other in other ways. The most dramatic example is the ritual whipping before a brother's cattle leaving ceremony. The land isn't owned by individuals, so that's something important to emphasize. It's free for cultivation and grazing, just as fruit and berries are free for whoever collects them. The Hamar move on when the land is exhausted or overwhelmed by weeds. Right? Yes. But as far as they're like as far as the religion, they are 95% Sunni Muslim. They observe the five basic teachings of Muslim, which include acknowledging that Allah is the only God, praying, fasting, giving alms to the poor, and making a pilgrimage to Mecca. However, many elements of their traditional religion are still practiced. For instance, they believe that natural objects, rocks, trees, etc., have spirits. They also believe in jinns or spirits that are capable of assuming humans or animal form and exercising supernatural influence over people. So this is very important to note because you see this in other parts of Africa too. A lots of times when religions try to go to other places and when they are adopted by the local people, it's often indigenized. You know, so like the indigenous people often take a different turn on like the specific religion. You know what I'm saying? So like, and these people, in regards to Muslim, are often referred to as Sufis. So I guess some people will often would refer to the Omani people as being Sufi Muslims. Okay, but yeah, we can just call them Muslims though. That's just we can just call them Muslims. But yeah, I mean they're one of the most interesting the tribes I've seen so far. I mean like their adornments, their uniqueness. You know how like they have such a unique language, a unique culture, and they've kept it strong for such a long period of time. I think seeing parts of Africa that are like this is good because it's showing that like they're the ones that make the norm. This is Africa, and we run things our way. You know? And I think that's important given that everybody's trying to tell Africa, you know, you have to be like us. So I'm really happy that they're keeping a lot of the traditions still going. The Hamar tribe, as well as all other African tribes as well. But that's it for the Hamar people. This was your boy Afro Ade. Please go ahead and give a like and subscribe. Give me a comment. Tell me what you like, what you didn't like about the video. Tell me what you think about the Hamar tribe, and also go ahead and like follow like my Patreon and just go ahead and like help me out. The thing is, I love making these type of videos, and it'll be a lot more easier for me to make these type of videos if you guys are actually supporting me too. And there are some benefits that also come with it too. For instance, I'm pretty sure one of my highest paying people will be able to actually do collaborations or like have conversations with me too, if you like that. So literally, your help would be greatly appreciated. And other than that, you guys have a awesome day, and please